Sentiment Analysis of Travel Websites. Presented by Group 1 MSCBA at NUIG. We have used cross-industry standard process for data mining, popularly known as CRISP-DM. But to explain the whole life cycle of our project, we have broken it into 4 parts as shown here. Now let's begin with journey to the selection of problem statement. We had lot of brainstorming with teammates. But in absence of sufficient data and resources, most of the time we failed. Since the beginning we were interested in drawing insights from sentiments. But topic was not known. Or maybe most of the ideas were very broad and inexact. But to showcase it in brief, we have shown here in different stages how our thought process and idea evolved. Stage 1 focus was to find patterns in social media strategy of the startup ecosystem Ireland. Stage 2 focus was changed to follow the pattern and the sentiments flowing in the network of startups and their CEOs in Twitter. Stage 3 we settled with the idea of doing analysis on Ireland's tourism. While we were exploring about startup ecosystem and network analysis, we met Katerina, who is PhD researcher at NUIG and her area of interests is in organizational network analysis. With her help we learned how to analyze friends and followers list and flow of sentiments through tweets in them. We learned many new topics as cluster analysis, hashtag analysis, topic analysis, and others like tie strength, key players, cohesion in network. We tried to do network analysis with different topics on tweets and retweets generated in Ireland. This is one of the graph that we came up with while doing topic analysis with keyword startup. This graph shows how key players in startup world of Ireland are connected. Though we learned a lot, but in absence of B2C startups and Twitter's limit to collect old data, we had to drop this idea. But finally, after failing many a times, we got something to work on. As our target was to work on any project which can be considered as a prototype or consulting project to further work on real time. Let's start with the idea then. And let's see what are the previous related work that has been done. One of the major pillar in tourism industry is accommodation. The biggest challenge for any tourist is to decide where to stay. An aim of investors in this industry and government is to increase the visit of tourists as much as possible, even in off seasons, by increasing customer satisfaction to the fullest. For this, knowing the sentiments of tourists, which is knowing about their likes and dislikes, is of paramount importance. After the idea popped up, we did a research on have it been done before and how fruitful it was. We have added for an instance story of Singapore. The Singapore Tourism Board has used sentiment analysis of reviews on TripAdvisor as source in deciding their hospitality strategy. According to their analysis, staff quality, room qualities, and value are the top 3 hotel factors that determine travelers' satisfaction. Not only Singapore, but sentimental analysis has helped many other organizations to generate mass sentiments, eventually to take decisions based on that. Failed Ireland and other agencies are already doing lots of analytics. Though there has been a steady growth in the increase in number of tourists. Who knows, on acting on the insights drawn from sentimental analysis after text mining the tourists' reviews can even outperform the 2025 goal. And Ireland becomes best preferred location in EU. Hence accomplishing the mission. To know the 2025 strategy, we need to know about now and past. Tourism in Ireland has been on a constant rise over the last 3 years. In 2018, the Republic of Ireland had about 9.6 million visitors, generating a revenue of €5.4 billion. The Irish government is working towards growing the tourism industry by investing in employment, hotels, infrastructure of tourist spots to become a top tourist attraction in the world. This strategy makes the case that inbound tourism to Ireland by 2025 can grow to €8.1 billion annually, employing a further 80,000 people nationally and increase the tourist count to 13.7 million visitors. As important as the project was to determine stakeholders who can be benefited by this process of interpreting from sentiments of tourists, we consider agencies such as Failed Ireland, Tourism Ireland, Irish government itself, and different hotels and hostels, and obviously investors as stakeholders. Data sources available for analyzing accommodation in Ireland were Central Statistics Office, social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Google Trends, Hostel World, Airbnb, and TripAdvisor. After closely observing all the data sources just mentioned, we chose TripAdvisor and Hostel World to collect data from, and to compare the results with data from CSO. We didn't choose other data sources because reviews in other platforms were not available for a long period and were very abrupt. Different research question we had were: 1. What aspect of an accommodation matters most for tourists? 2. How do hotels and hostels differ from each other in their choices they make? 3. How different seasons of the year affects tourism? 4. What is the best way to predict the number of visitors to visit Ireland in the near future, and are reviews an important factor? 5. Is there any correlation between rating and review of a place? If yes, how strong is it? There has been a lot of rationalization done on the name of hotel and hostels to be chosen. Whether to choose the hotel and hostels based on stratified sampling, random sampling, cluster sampling, or other techniques. We tried few of the sampling technique but ended up in getting names of hotels and hostels that had like 200 to 300 reviews. We realized that it won't be justifiable to choose names based on sampling as it would have been done if the names of hotels and hostel were representing the variance in the data. But as all the hotels and hostels were not equally popular, we started to look for popular options across Republic of Ireland. To further segregate and choose only few of them, we contacted Failed Ireland for top places visited by tourists. And here is the final list of hotels and hostels. Let us now have a look how we extracted the unstructured data, integrated the data, and then used it for model creation. Here it shows how the flow in the analytics work has been done, and it can also be seen from the block diagram here that visualization were done for both descriptive analytics and predictive analytics. We scrapped all the reviews available of chosen hostels and hotels from Hostelworld and TripAdvisor. It was one of the toughest part to scrap the data, as it took 1 month to do that. We had everyday timely job set up on WebHarvey to scrap the reviews and a system set up specifically for that, as we didn't have free access to cloud or other VM. Sometimes it even took more than 1 day continuous run to pull data of one hostel or hotel. The data scraped was not clean at all. It had so many missing fields and noise in it. Scraping is done based on HTML tags and regex expressions, but with certain dynamic HTML elements appearing on few comments caused lots of noise. And we also had to separate the date in string format to separate month and year column, and the rating of Hostelworld and TripAdvisor were in different scale that had to be converted into one scale. We used Excel formulae, eFill, and lots of manual attention to clean it into proper format. We did sentiment analysis using R of all the comments. To quantify the reviews in number and to find trends and build model on it, we generated sentiment scores. We have used our package CAJ for the purpose, and code has been attached in the appendix of the report. Therefore, in the image above it can be seen that it has generated several score for different emotions like anger, anticipation, joy, fear, disgust, surprise, joy, and others based on which a positive and negative score is generated. Other R packages used are Lubricate and TM. Now to generate the final aggregated data, we had to create pivot table in Excel for all the files of hostel/hotel individually, then find average scores of all the ratings in a same month, and extract it to new sheet. And then finally combine them into one. Before going into predictive modeling, let's discuss the significant foundings we have. Just by doing descriptive analytics, we have used R for creating the word cloud, and the packages that were used are TM, BLA2, word cloud, RWCA. After creating the word cloud, we can see the words most commonly used and their usage frequency based on their sizes. But we realized it doesn't make so much sense. For an instance, great doesn't make complete sense. What is great? Friendly, what does it mean? Who are friendly? To be more specific, that what are the most frequent words, we have also drawn bar chart on R based on frequency. It can be referred to be specific on the usage of words by tourists. Based on NLP, we found the bigrams, a pair of consecutive written units, that are most commonly used. We used Ngram tokenizer from our WCA library of R. Once after looking at the image below, one can understand and can draw insight from the bigram. It clearly depicts customer are very much fond of. Location bigrams found are Temple Bar, great location, minute walk, bus station. Behavior of staff bigrams found are staff friendly, staff helpful, great staff. Service bigrams found are like free breakfast. We thought of having more clarity on the data, so we have also found the trigrams, its word cloud and bar plot of frequency. Though few of them are making more sense now, but most of them are repetitive. After generating and thoroughly going through the word cloud of bigrams and trigrams of hostel, we were amazed to find out it is not the cheap prices of the hostel that has attracted them, but the staff, most importantly location. Even hotel customers are also fond of location, but here location preference seems to be more in the city, because we also have a popular bigram pub crawl. And another astonishing fact that came up is, despite of both kind of visitors in hostel and hotel being in complete different strategic segment, they happen to have same requirement. And to both, the most important thing that matters is staff and location. It is quite visible that the overall sentiment seems to be very much move in parallel to the number of visitors. Then it won't be wrong to put a hypothesis that tourists' experience also depend on the month they are visiting, and months can be correlated to weather. So investors and business person in the industry has to be more cautious and provide added service in not so peak months to give them better experience to have balanced visitors throughout the year, as Vista seems to be more complaining in off-season. These were the factors that were considered before feature selection to create our model. We have used multiple linear regression to build a model that predicts the number of visitors. After using feature selection to select the right variables, the MLR equation became more efficient. We have tried to minimize the root mean square error as much as possible, and based on that we found out that only sentiment and rating are essential factors, while the number of reviews is in some way linearly related to sentiment, hence its presence increases the root mean square error slightly. Using the above analysis on regression, it is obvious that rating plays a very big role in the deciding factor of visiting a place. Following this, sentiment score is of small but significant importance in deciding to visit a place. The matrix is a correlation matrix of the data set, which is using Spearman's correlation. It implies that rating has connection with review. Finally, we have reached to the final content of our presentation. Whole project was full of challenges. One of the major one was we choose to prepare data by aggregating from different sources, not just by simply downloading it from somewhere. We have mentioned here the major challenges that we faced. Narrowing the focus of the problem statement to solve one area, accommodation. Data acquirement challenges, web scraping. Handling and cleaning unstructured data. Choice of tools for predictive modeling with small data set. Bias from size of review increasing or decreasing sentiment score. Among different challenges, one was a project management one that is not mentioned in the list. We realized it's really very difficult to collaborate and work with teammates when there is no any organizational hierarchy. And collaborative responsibility proves itself to be the toughest one. As we have already mentioned that our aim was to build a prototype to this kind of study, but it can be used in a real time with huge datasets and automated jobs to give runtime insights. From different stakeholders' point of view, we have segregated it as follows. One could be plugged into the research of Tourism Ireland does before deciding the right locations to invest in. 2 booking websites could consider having an automated sentiment checker to evaluate performance on a recent time effect basis. 3 hostels and hotels could change their strategy to improve their ratings on popular websites such as TripAdvisor. 4 predicting the number of tourists beforehand will give the big players in this industry luxury to plan ahead. We would conclude the video presentation here with few of the briefings of the work comprised in the project. As per our analysis, we could see how rating and sentiments of reviews having a maximum impact on the number of tourists visiting a place. For predicting, we have used multiple linear regression to determine which factors are most important to decide how many visitors will visit Ireland in the future. This analysis can be used by any tourism organization of Ireland before deciding in what parts of Ireland to invest and on which facilities to invest, and to plan ahead by foreseeing. This analysis has been done with the focus on Ireland's goals on the 2025 to become an €8 billion tourism industry and securing the top spot in tourism on the digital space. It will have more impact if CSO chooses to give all the data of the tourists visit month-wise since 2010. And instead of collecting the data from whole Ireland, if data from one county is collected and compared to that of other county, which will also lead to regular growth of all the counties. And on more bigger scale, a comparison can be made with other EU countries. But to make it profitable, GDPR issues has to be handled before collecting data from any website. Here we have put in brief few things that we learned in this journey, and maybe it can prove to be more impactful in our career than the destination of the project itself. Thank you very much for being patient to listen whole of this. Before ending this presentation, we would like to thank our supervisor Dr. Murray Scott, who has guided us on each and every moment when we felt helpless and lost.